free speech continues to be attacked across the world, frankly, even in the United States of America. We need to talk about why this is a heritage, why it's crucial to fight for it, and why, if it goes away, civilization goes away. Yes, you and I need to talk about this. I'm Marcus Peter. So, in his article, British Attacks on Free Speech Prove the Value of the First Amendment, Stephen Greenhut openly criticized the UK's approach to regulating speech. In short, it started off as a kind of speech policing that eventually became speech tyranny. And now, even the whiff of a statement that's even close to violating what the rule of the day, the regime of the day desires, calls for, or even approves of. All of these people suffer. And in the UK, they're suffering incarceration. I'm talking about thought crimes, an individual who stands within the vicinity of an abortuary and prays within their soul because they're thinking the prayer. It's a thought crime and therefore a kind of hate speech. And if you think I'm making this up, no, look this up.
What are you here for today?
Physically, I'm just standing here.
Okay. Why here of all places? I know you don't live nearby.
But this is an abortion centre.
Okay, that's why you're standing. Is you standing here part of the protest?
No, I'm not protesting.
Are you praying?
I might be praying in my head.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station for me to ask you some questions about today and other days where there are allegations that you've broken public space protection?
If I've got a choice, then no.
Okay, well then you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to comply with the public spaces protection order, which is under the...
Thank the Lord that the United States of America possesses First Amendment protections, and so the right to free speech is something that can be argued all the way till the Supreme Court. Unfortunately, the United Kingdom does not have similar rights enshrined in a kind of Bill of Rights as an extension of its constitution, and so misinformation, according to the present UK government, can be combated at will by any form of speech that is codified as hate speech and or seditious, or anything that is violating the intents and norms of the present government. And so what we're really seeing is the suppression of individual liberty. And when free speech dies, governments become totalitarian. When free speech is suppressed and persecuted, governments become tyrannical. So yes, we can talk about the instance of the 74-year-old Scottish woman who silently held a sign near an abortion clinic. And that's an action that would be protected under the US Constitution. It's criminalized in the UK. The European Convention on Human Rights, Article 10, supposedly protects freedom of expression, but we're seeing incarcerations in the UK right now. So no, this is underscoring the importance of our First Amendment. In unequivocal language, we need to realize Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Without such a clear constitutional safeguard, it is only a matter of time before the government can come after us for anything. I want to put this into perspective. The things I say on the microphone, on these videos, and on international air, I would get incarcerated if this was Malaysia. What's the Catholic response to this? Catechism paragraph 1731, freedom is the power, rooted in reason and will, to act or not to act. Human freedom attains its perfection when directed toward God, our beatitude. But the only way a person in a society can do that, to act or not to act, to choose the good, or frankly, to choose evil, which we see happen very often, but finally to order ourselves to God, who is our beatitude, that can only happen in a nation that understands the value of individual liberty and freedom of speech. The church emphasizes this continuously. Paragraph 1733, there is no true freedom except in the service of what is good and just. Think about this. Cicero, he wrote in De Legibus, law is the highest reason implanted in nature which commands what ought to be done and forbids the opposite. Herein lies the issue. When governments curtail free speech, law can't stand against government. When the citizenry does not have a right to question government, there is no accountability to that law. You think about the words of people like John Stuart Mill in his work on liberty. He wrote, "The peculiar evil of silencing the expression of an opinion is robbing the human race. If the opinion is right, they are deprived of the opportunity of exchanging error for truth. And therein lies the issue, that if we attack free speech, we will see the erosion of individual dignity because individual liberty will practically cease. Freedom of expression means there is no moral accountability from the part of the citizenry to the elected officials, and so personal autonomy within moral bounds is completely curtailed. Power will be concentrated because when one restricts free speech, they consolidate authority in the hands of the ruling regime and the few, and this always leads to abuse. Lord Acton said this clearly. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And so what happens? The decline of a civilization. Frankly, we're seeing that in the UK. Deprived of their heritage in Christendom and their Judeo-Christian grounding and framework, what's happening now? They've given way to first a secularist regime that has given way to relativism, but most of all now, Islam is rising, aiming to take over the world. Watch out for them. I mean this in no uncertain terms. Fight for the right of freedom of expression and make sure that it continues to be enshrined within the Constitution for the sake of a flourishing civilization. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Marcus Peter.